Hello, and welcome to the Office of the State Engineer's tutorials on how to complete our forms. This tutorial is to clarify what is needed for you to file a change of ownership form for water rights that originate from a water well. This is not including transfers of permitted domestic wells or stock wells, which is covered in another tutorial on transferring ownership on a domestic well drilled on a 72-12-1 permit. You will find a link to that tutorial and others in the description below. These water rights may have been used for public water supply, municipal, irrigation, industrial, commercial, but it could also include wells drilled for domestic purposes that were drilled without a permit before the state engineer declared jurisdiction of the underground basin at that location. This type of well is referred to as a pre-basin well. They are treated differently administratively than wells drilled by permit for domestic stock purposes, which is allowed by statute 72-12-1 NMSA. 72-1-2.1 NMSA 1978 states, in the event of any changes of ownerships of a water right, whether by sale, gift, or any other type of conveyance, affecting the title to the water right which has been permitted or licensed by the state engineer, has been declared with the state engineer, or has been adjudicated and is evidenced by a subfile order, partial final decree, or any other court order, the new owner of the water right shall file a change of ownership form with the state engineer. The form shall include all the information conforming with the water rights of record filed with the state engineer, and shall be accompanied by a copy of a warranty deed or other instrument of conveyance. The new owner shall record a copy of the change of ownership form filed with the state engineer with the county clerk in which the water right is located. The water right shall be public notice of the existence and contents of the instruments so recorded from the time of recording with the county clerk. There are different types of water rights that may require ownership transfer, but I will begin with the water well ownership transfers that involve irrigation. If you are filing a change of ownership on a well, we may need to see the complete chain of title back to the owner of record or copies of plats showing lot splits in order to complete the change of ownership. These all must be recorded at the county clerk before we may accept them with your forms. You may know the file number, and you may have received documentation when you purchase the property, such as copies of a permit, declaration, or subfile number to make the process easier. But if you did not get that information, you may have some research ahead of you. The Office of the State Engineer provides online tools to assist you, or you can look to the local Office of the State Engineer district office for files that are not yet available online. The water right that you have purchased may have been declared by the original owner that the water was used beneficially prior to the jurisdiction of the state engineer, or it may have been permitted, licensed, adjudicated, or not recorded at all. So your first step is to find out the water right file number. This tutorial will show you how to search the database online for the name of the person that you purchased the water right from. But if you do not find it there, you may need to make a trip to your local district office to research the paper files. You may think that you have more irrigated land than you actually have, as many deeds do not disclose the number of irrigated acres that come along with the transfer. We will, to the best of our ability, help you, but we are not surveyors. And if there is a conflict in the historical records, it can take some time and money to resolve the matter. The Office of the State Engineer water right files should reflect every transaction that has occurred since the New Mexico Territory Engineer was created in 1907. Since that time, and due to the magnitude of the paperwork filed, some files have more water rights transferred on paper than land is available. And when this happens, the parties are encouraged to jointly perform a survey, but sometimes it takes a court action to clear things up. Historically, many documents were accepted for filing along the way. Today, the Waters database helps us account for transfers of ownership recorded with the state engineer. The deed usually describes the metes and bounds of the property that's been transferred, and that's referred to as deeded acreage, but normally does not disclose how much of that deeded land has an irrigation right appurtenant or fixed to the ground. You may have to research surveys, hydrographic survey maps, irrigation irrigation district maps, drainage maps, deeds, water rights transfers that have occurred historically, and look for permits that have moved the water rights elsewhere. If you acquire a portion of a larger tract, you will have to make the water right determination to the best of your ability, and we will check it using in-house mapping tools available. If there are discrepancies, you may have to hire a surveyor to determine the proper split amount. This sometimes takes numerous attempts to find records and visits to the county clerk in which the water right is located. There will be tutorials available for all the online search tools coming soon, so be sure and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications when there are updates to our channel. So first, you need to find the OSE file number at the top of the screen on our website, which is ose.state.nm.us. You will see a link that says Water Rights Lookup at the top of the screen. This is an access portal to the waters database. The first thing you're going to need to do is to inspect your well and see if there's a well ID tag, such as this, strapped to the well casing. This ID number can be queried to find the corresponding well number or the point of diversion number and the corresponding water rights file number from this portal, which is the New Mexico Water Rights Reporting System. This, again, is just a portal to the waters database, which we enter information to in the office. And on step 5, you will click here to enter into the New Mexico Water Rights Reporting System. If your well has been tagged, there is a report called Point of Diversion Well Tag ID report, and you would click on that and you will open up the well ID tag section, and you will enter in the well tag ID number. You will click View Pod Report, and it will bring you up the location of the well that the well tag has been attached to. You can also access documents related to the water right file number by clicking on the hyperlink. Here, you will get copies of both the permit and the well log by clicking on Get Images. Here, the top one is the application. This column here, you'll see that it says APP. That's for the application. And the bottom one is LOG for the well log. So if you wanted to look at the well log information, you can click on that and the imaged documents will appear. This will give you all the information relating to your well. But if your well has not yet been tagged, you can begin to research the information regarding your well by searching the Water Rights Summary report. And if you know the file number, you can select the basin ID letter here, such as Rio Grande, and you can enter in your number, and it will bring you back the information of the Water Rights Summary information regarding your well. And again, you can click the Get Images to get the permit and the well log regarding your well. If you do not have that information, you can search it by name. Here you would search by owner, first and last name. If it's a company, a business name, or any governmental entity, you would search in the last name field. There will be another tutorial on how to search the waters database posted at a later time. So the first name that you would want to search is the name of the person that you purchased the property from. If that name does not return in a search, it may be the result of them failing to register the well into their name. Continue searching names and of the previous owners until you find the name of the person who is the owner of record on file. If you know who might have pulled the permit for the well to be drilled, you can search that name as well. If you search our database, it's limited to how things have been entered into the database, and you have to search the database by the information that's contained on the paperwork. However, we have another robust way of searching for your well information, which is on the same page on our website, and down at the bottom you will see a link to the OSE Pod Locations map application. It's an online application, and click on the picture of the windmill and it will open up the application, and you can search this by physical address. You can search it by section, township, and range, latitude, longitude, or by owner's names. This map is linked to our database, and so you can actually type in an address, and here you will see that there's a red overlay, and this is because there is a water right restriction in this particular area. If you want to see what that restriction is, you can click on the colored background and it will tell you that there is a critical management area, and if you want to read any information about that, you can click on the metadata down here at the bottom. There are the attachments. Otherwise, you would look for the well information here by searching for wells in the area. A red dot means the well has been plugged. A blue dot means that it's active and we have a well log on it. So in order to get the well log information, you would click on the dot and it would bring up all of the information regarding the well drilling, depth to water, date the well was drilled, subdivision information if there's any, the owner's name, and the diversion amount and what the well is used for. This is how you would begin your search, is to go into the location and start looking for information. The caveat is that our older data can be difficult to research. Statutes up until today still only requires that a well is located to a description to the nearest 40 acres. In the last 12 years, the agency has been requiring more precise location from both the applicant and a GPS location from the well driller. And so the wells are located much better today than they were in the past. But in the past, if the permit only gave a section, township, and range, the well will be mapped in the center of whatever location, section, township, and range we have. So you may have a lot of wells that are stacked up on top of each other because they have the same description and the same quarter section, township, and range. So sometimes it complicates a little bit looking for information, but the mapping tool allows you to see where the paperwork shows that the well is located, and that can be really helpful. So there'll be a new tutorial, as I said, on how to use this tool as well. But once you have located your well information, you will need to go back and get the application forms page to get the change of ownership form. So again, at the top of our page, there are links at the top, and you will go to the far right link, and it's forms and applications. And on this page, you can download all of the forms related to groundwater, surface water. There are other forms that are available. You can check those out as well. We've got checklists here, complaint forms. Everything is available on this page. Click on groundwater filing forms, and the form that you're going to want is the second one, which is a WR02, change of ownership of a water right other than section 72-12-1, which is the domestic and stock wells. And always come to this page. The fees may change right now. They're $2, but always check to the page for current fees. So at the top of the form, you will see that there's a box to indicate whether the forms are being completed as an individual, trustees, estates, pueblos, tribes, nations, corporations, partnerships, limited liability company, or as a governmental entity. So please check off whatever entity that you are. In box 1, we're going to list all of the owners of records and any subsequent owners of records names that come in between yours and the owner of records name. So if there are more than 2 names that you need to list, you can put multiple names in this field here, but please list all of the names that go back to the owner of record. And if you have telephone numbers corresponding to the person that you purchased the property from, you can enter that information there. In box 1A, this is where you're going to put the file number. In box 1B, this is a subfile number, and box 1C is cause number. You will only have numbers there if your water rights have been adjudicated, and those numbers would be made available off of the consent order. In box 2, if there are more than one owner listed on the warranty deed, you will check off this box here, the yes box, and you will attach a separate sheet with all of the owners of record, because each owner will have all of this information completed: name, mailing address, telephone number, email. Each person will have their own information put in each column here. And as it says here, it's required to submit warranty deeds or other instruments of conveyance properly recorded with the county clerk's office. office. We do not accept anything that has not been recorded previously with the county clerk's office. So in box 3, you're going to check off the purpose of use as it's listed on the OSE file in our record. So if there are uses that are being used for that are not recognized by the state engineer, those have to be changed by permit. So you can only check off those uses that are recognized by the state engineer. And in this box here, you will put the diversion and consumptive amounts. But if you have another unit of measure, you would put what unit that measure is here in the other field as well. Here you would indicate if you purchased all of the water right or just part of the water right that the previous owner had on record. If there was a lot split, it would be a part of an acquisition. So on page 2 in box 4, list all well information. So if you have multiple wells, all wells will be listed individually on this line here, and the well tag ID numbers listed here. Subdivision, if this is in PLSS, this is quarter of a section, township, or range, or it could be an actual subdivision lot and block. You can also put latitude, longitude of the wells, or easting and northing if the wells are described by some other form such as state claim. Here you will check off that these are wells, and you will also mark whether or not they have a pump, and the other information there is if it was for a ditch. So this is a point of diversion related to water wells, so you would not complete those last 2 fields. And in box 5A, this is where you would list the number of irrigated acres. So do not put your deeded acres here. This is just irrigated land only. In box 5B, check off how the land is going to be described, because you can describe irrigation by section, township, and range, or it can be by a hydrographic survey map or a district map, or it could be listed by the name and county of the subdivision. Here, public land surveying system, you would put the section in 5C. 5D, you would put the township. 5E, you would put the range. Now in 5F, this is where you're going to put again the number of acres, and you will have to put multiple lines for your acreage down here to describe them properly if they're in different sections or different quarter sections. And then in box 5G, you would put in the priority date of your well, and that's usually the date your water was put to beneficial use. Now in 5H, this is other descriptions relating to the place of use. Here you would put the county in which your place of use is located, and if your place of use is actually leased, you would put who owns the land here. And if there are other sources of water for these lands, you would check off yes or no, and if yes, put the file number. Please note that if it's on federal or state land, that we need a copy of the lease in order to execute any change of ownership on this. In box 6, enter in any statements or explanations regarding this well or the change of ownership. Going to page 3, if these water rights are being severed from the land and being conveyed as a separate water right, the owner of record that you purchased the property from must also sign this form. The acknowledgement signature lines are provided for individuals to sign in front of a notary. All other types of entities should sign in front of the notary on the acknowledgement of corporation line. You must include copies of the warranty deeds that connect back to the owner of record. If lands have been split, you may need to submit copies of the surveys or plats of the lot splits. Sometimes you need to submit a copy of legal documents that make the ownership of the land and the well clear. This form must be submitted in triplicate to allow one original form to remain on the shelf in the district office, one to be returned to you, the filer, for the required filing with the county clerk, and a third copy that we send to imaging and to state archives. You can submit these to the appropriate district office with a filing fee of $2 per well transfer. If you're unsure which district office that you must file with, here is a list of all of the district office locations, and please check the map that's available on our website. And this concludes the tutorial on filing a change of ownership for a non-domestic well. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.